It's 6:44 on a Saturday evening. We continue to monitor the breaking news out of Pennsylvania, where former President Donald Trump was rushed off the stage during a campaign rally. This comes after pops were heard in the audience. We want to head over to live coverage from Fox News. It's already in progress.
And the FBI there processing what is now a crime scene. And so as a result of that, many of the bystanders that are there on that scene are going to be perhaps witnesses to help law enforcement to try to determine what took place here this afternoon there.
All right, Ted, please don't go far. I want to check in with my colleague, Brett Beer, joining me on the phone now. Brett, this moment is shocking. This is not something our country ever wants to experience or see. May have lost Brett there. Let's check and see. Okay. Ted, if you're still there.
Yes.
Okay, Carl Rove. Carl, let me bring in Carl. Ted, don't go far. Carl, the same question I had for Brett there. I mean, this is a moment that you are always bracing yourself for when people of this importance and this magnitude and this, history in our country, a former president, when they take to the stage in the middle of a heated campaign, you never want to think this is going to happen. There's always got to be planning for it. But your reaction to this shocking moment? Carl, if you can hear me. All right, I'm going to come back to Ted because I think he's still with us. Ted, you talk about the investigation and the fact that we now have thousands of people who are potential witnesses to this crime scene. And what is the timeline for processing a scene like this, for identifying a suspect, for identifying what even happened? Because, we're going with the best of what we can tell from watching this event a few times over on tape.
Well, Shannon, there's really no time line or time period for processing. They're going to methodically take their time, meaning law enforcement, to process this crime scene, to talk to individuals who may have seen anything. They're going to also try to pull as much of the video feed as they possibly can to try to see what took place there in Pennsylvania this afternoon. And it's a very challenging scenario and situation that law enforcement is faced with. But they're trained to take on these kinds of situations. I would have to believe at this stage that, of course, they know quite a bit more than perhaps they're going to tell us. The big question that I want to know, and I'm sure America want to know, is do they have anybody in custody? Is it just one person? We found, we can go back as far as John F. Kennedy, when he was shot there in Dallas. It was thought to be more than one person other than Lee Harvey Oswald, if you remember. And there was a big investigation. What they're doing right now is preserving this crime scene, trying to find out as much as they possibly can about the shooter or shooters that fired maybe a weapon there. But I can tell you, when a presidential candidate is on a stage like that, normally they have bulletproof vests on, and the Secret Service is surrounding them. And if you notice there how fast the Secret Service converged on Trump here was real immediately.
Okay, Ted, thank you very much. Don't go far. Lucas, we're hearing now from the Secret Service, getting some kind of reaction and update to what happened. What do we know?
Well, Shannon, we just received a statement from the White House which says, and I'm just going to read it, President Biden has received an initial briefing on the incident at former President Trump's rally. It's notable, Shannon, that they're not calling this a shooting right now. And the Secret Service also out with a new statement saying, quote, an incident occurred the evening of July 13th at a Trump rally in Pennsylvania. The Secret Service has implemented protective measures and the former president is safe. This is now an active Secret Service investigation, and further information will be released when available. So the big takeaway from there, Shannon, is the Secret Service and the White House are not calling this a shooting right now at former President Trump's rally. They're merely calling it an incident. So we'll stay tuned on what more they have to say, Shannon.
Okay, Lucas, thank you very much. I think we've got my colleague Brett Baer with us now. Brett, that latest statement from the Secret Service saying the former president is safe. Your reaction to this moment unfolding in the middle of a very heated election campaign?
Yeah, Shannon, I'm on my way actually to a plane to Milwaukee, obviously, to start our coverage tomorrow night for the Republican convention. And this obviously a major surprise, reaching out to campaign officials and officials around the campaign. Everything we've heard so far is that there's some kind of nick on the ear. You saw the picture, the close-up of the blood on his face, but everything we're told so far is that the former president is okay at this point. You saw the Secret Service move very quickly and surround him in a matter of seconds as you look at that video. And, you know, it's reminiscent of past presidents like President Ronald Reagan. And you've seen those images before. Fortunately, it appears that this is not that. And it's interesting that the White House put out that statement. There is an investigation ongoing, but we're getting it by the minute here. Most importantly, the word we're getting initially is that the former president is okay.
Yeah, I mean, Brett, that is the most reassuring thing, especially after seeing him there. And you know, we could hear the audio as the Secret Service seemed very ready for him to get moving. And he's saying, let me get my shoes on, pumping his fist for the crowd, trying to indicate it seemed like he was walking off on his own. They were shuffling him out of there and obviously creating a protective cordon around him. So he may have been completely fine to walk. And maybe it appeared a little bit slowed down simply by their efforts to protect him, surround him, and get him down those stairs and get him out of there. We do know that President Biden has been briefed. As you said, I mean, we're here in Milwaukee. This is just a couple of days before they officially begin their kickoff here. What do you think may be the impact of this? Because we have just felt that this country is so divided, and now we're looking at a moment which to everyone, every decent person in this country, is something they never want to see in any political rally.
This is a moment where our country is in a really precarious position. You know, you have a Democratic Party that is, you know, in turmoil. The president's saying he's sticking it out and he's going to run. However, there's a lot of talk about whether he is or whether he isn't. But this incident is a big moment, and we have to find out all the details and what exactly happened and where those shots came from or what they were. We don't have a lot of details on that, but it just adds to this tumult that we are seeing in this country as we head towards the conventions, the Republican convention first, and hopefully, you know, it's going to be peaceful. There will be increased security, guaranteed, Shannon, with all that we're seeing so far.
Brett, I want to read this just coming in. Brooks Singman from us, you know, one of our colleagues here at Fox, has this urgent statement from the Trump campaign saying President Trump thanks law enforcement and first responders for their quick action during this heinous act. He is fine and is being checked out at a local medical facility. More details will follow. So, Brett, again, another assurance, the first coming from Secret Service and now from the Trump campaign itself, that it sounds like he is doing well. And whatever the intentions were of whatever happened there at the rally, it sounds like he's going to be just fine. And probably, I would guess, you knowing him, I knowing him, as many folks know him, probably more fired up than ever to get back out there on the campaign trail.
Yeah, and I think that just the indication that he wanted to get up and raise his fist after that moment, I think was an image he wanted to portray. I think there's a lot to know where things are coming from.
Absolutely. Brett, thank you very much. Safe travels. We will see you here very shortly in Milwaukee. Excuse me. I want to make sure that we get to nationally syndicated political reporter Selena Zito. She is a Pennsylvanian. She is somebody who has a Pennsylvanian, I guess would be the right term. She covers this state border to border, knows it inside and out. You were there at the rally, Selena. Can you tell us what you witnessed?
Yeah, so I was here at the rally. I've been here since 12 o'clock this afternoon. I had actually met with the president for a couple minutes before he went out on the stage. He was in great spirits. We were to do an interview after the rally. I was in the buffer, so the buffer zone is the area where it's like this narrow area that's right along where the president stands. And as I was, and with other photographers, I heard something coming out sort of from the left-hand side, and you saw the president go down. And immediately, what I could hear him say was, "Let me get my shoes." He got right back up. I could see him raise his fist. And then the Secret Service and military, or law enforcement sort of surrounded him. It wasn't to hold him up, but it was to protect him because no one knew where the shooter was at that point. To walk him off of the stage and into his motorcade.
Yeah, and Selena, you know, we're hearing it. You're there in person. We're hearing it, rewatching this tape over and over again. What did it sound like to you? We've had reports of a puff of smoke or puffs of smoke. Could you see anything about a person? You mentioned the direction where this was coming from. Any of those details?
Well, not really, because the sun was in my eye, so I couldn't see. I could tell the direction it was coming from, but I couldn't see the person. And then the advanced man laid on top of me and to make sure I was okay. So that's what that experience was like. But as a gunner, I know what that sound is like, so I knew immediately it was a gun.
Okay, so for your assessment, there being on the ground, it wasn't a firework or something like that. In your hearing of it, it did sound like a firearm.
Oh, yes, definitely. No doubt about it.
Okay, well, we know that they have tried to, clear folks from there. There's obviously a crime scene investigation that's going on there. Selena, we are glad you're safe. Please stay with us. I want to check back in with Britt Hume as we're learning a little bit more. Britt, we've now got statements from the Secret Service and also from the Trump campaign that the former president is safe. That is excellent news. That is the best possible news. It doesn't take away from the shock and the distress of whatever was attempted there. You heard Selena Zito. She is now confident, as a gun owner herself and somebody who was an eyewitness, that this was a firearm.
I don't think there's been much doubt about that, Shannon. It's completely consistent with the video that we've seen, particularly with that remarkable shot we saw where the president flinched and raised his hand to the right side of his head to his ear, and that's consistent with the video we've seen of the blood streaming from that area of his ear and face. I think we can now trust the statements that are being made to say that he's okay. All the video evidence we can see, including this picture that was on the screen just moments ago of him raising his fist and being carried away by the Secret Service group, confirms that. So I think this looks like something that could have been much worse than it is at the moment, than it's turned out to be, and we can all be very grateful for that indeed, and very grateful indeed as well for the Secret Service. They don't mess around, as you could see. The president was trying to, stand up, raise his fist, signal to the crowd that he was okay, and they were completely preoccupied with the job of getting him off that stage.
All right, you've been watching network coverage of an incident that happened at former President Trump's Pennsylvania rally. We are told the former president is safe. He's being looked at by a medical team